All right. Ah, all right, let's get started. You don't have to run, Bader. So far so good this morning. It's been a fantastic morning here. We've had wood blocks. All right, blocks practicing this morning. Got incense being lit, and one of the things around he started with your is if you're not doing one of our posting this morning, regular students, is that the appreciation of seeing people doing their posting I would say is probably by far where you get the most merit with us, right? Because there's a certain grind that every person goes through or they're lying. I mean, I can't- I mean, if anybody tells you that, for example, posting is fun and it's all, then they haven't been practicing. It's oh yeah, I can stand all day, which reminded me of that Sun Lu Tang story, right? Ando and I were talking about this one time is that he had learned the Santi with us, the way that we do it, and I told him the story that Sifu Chin had taught us the Santi posting, and then and our goal was to try to hit 15 minutes, and that took me like I don't know 6 months to try to get to where I could do 15 minutes, and I had been used to practicing for an hour, so I thought I was going to be getting off easy. Um, and then later, I read this book with Sun Lu Tang who spoke about how his students would stand half hour aside. And I'm going, holy crap, how can this be? Right. And so I go to Sifu Chin and I'm holding the book and I say, Sun Lu Tang says his students do it half an hour aside. I don't understand. Am I, I'm not going to use the language, but so he said, no. He said, look, he said, try it the way that he teaches it. And so instead of having a good lower body with a good structure, you're allowed to turn it in. You're allowed, and the hand was able to sit, so it looked like that. And I was able to do it almost a half hour the first day, right? But the demands of doing it the way we were taught, where you have certain things lined up in a certain way, is not easy. So anyway, the point of that being is that, irregardless if you're doing universal posting, turtle posting, Santi posting, any of the there's a grind to it, yeah, and it kind of speaks to I want to remind folks and myself usually about in the Buddhist teaching it has a what is called the eight noble truths or the eight noble paths, and one of those paths is the right thoughts, right? That's how it's translated anyway. And having the right thoughts is usually associated with right intentions, right motivations, right? They kind of all similar type of thinking. And when you try to apply things like that, where it's one thing to try to remember these things, having the right actions for another is another example of part of his eight noble paths. Is that when you're trying to develop yourself, having an understanding of what it is that you intend to do. What are you hoping to achieve? Right. And you may have no idea how you're going to get there. Right. I know I didn't. I didn't even know what the result was supposed to look like. Right. Because my only motivation was try to be, understand myself. And that's I would say an opaque intention. It's an opaque motivation, but I knew what I didn't want. Which is actually sometimes where your determinations come, right? You may not know what you're looking for, but you realize without any doubt, this ain't it. It's almost always an involuntary reaction that you don't want. Yeah, that's right. Even though you don't know what the goal or the end result is. Right. To eliminate that involuntary reflex. It's funny, and the way that I tried to explain it one time is that it's for me, I became aware that I created my path by all the things that didn't work. And so, like, if I'm a swimmer, when I get to the end of the pool, you see them they flip over and they put their feet against the wall and they push themselves away from it. And when I realize something isn't working, that's exactly the sensation I go through. I'll turn and I'll put my feet up and literally in my heart just push myself away from it with no idea about where I'm going next. But then I'll take that next path till it comes to an end and I'll push off it. And then what will happen is you'll set up a stone here and then you'll push off, you'll set a stone up over here, and then later one over here. And pretty soon you'll see this path that comes out of these stones you set along the way. So never be afraid of changing what your intention is. Let me rephrase that. Never be afraid to push off from something when your intention never changes. Because when I was just trying to learn myself and get to know myself, that intention never changed. It hasn't changed to this day. To continue practicing, getting to know myself, getting to know myself around other people sometimes, right? How I go about it has changed multiple times, a multitude of times. And like you and I were talking about earlier, sometimes you realize that, oh, that's what I thought I was looking at, but this is actually a different way of seeing it, right? So, anyway, try to, when you're practicing, it's always good to set an intention before practice or during a part of your practice, have fun to be a part of your practice. Literally, that's all it is. I just want to have a little fun for about the next 10 minutes. To concentrate my mind for the next 10 minutes, right? To be a little bit better, for mine, another one that was important to me was just practice to be graceful. Whatever in the hell that is, right? Can I but yeah, you should laugh. All right. So all right, let's dragon whips his tail. Oh, wow. Keep it going. Yeah. Uh, Let's do one more to each side. Okay. And now what? Let's do. Because one of the other things I literally had to put my mind to practice on a regular basis was the three circles, to where they became fluent like a language, right? Because Seafood Poe would always say, no man can escape the three circles, right? But it's so easy for your mind to get trapped into one of them because that one's more comfortable for you, right? So if you look at what we just did and what I've done in Pinehurst sometimes when I'm teaching is to help that start a warm up with the three circles. So we just did the pie circle, right? Now, Tiger licks his mane would be the wheel circle, up and over. What a clean feeling morning, but man, it's still got a little bite to it, doesn't it? Good. Now let's spread out the feet a little bit, shift the weight side to side. Just kind of get the waist and all moving. Now turn your waist a little bit to the side that you're going to. And then the last circle we'll work on, we'll just do through cloud hands. Just let the hand float out to the side that you're turning to. It's a good way of kind of warming up the body, getting in a little technique practice. But for me, it was a okay reminder of the three circles. And let's do one more. Good. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is we're going to take a couple of minutes and I'm going to review what I had done with Aiden earlier today. He's been fantastic in doing his posting practice. And as Aiden was, I were talking, sometimes, and I'm sure all of us have done this. Sometimes posting practice is a great way of coming out and just be part of the environment. Just breathe. Right? That's it. And the intent is just decompress, right? Let the world have it. That's what I say was he go out there and just let the forest have it, let the trees have whatever it is, because they can handle everything. They can handle it. So just let them have it. Let the universe have it. And so that's a great way to practice. And then sometimes it's good to have some what I call a posting script, right? Just a little outline. It's not by detail, it's just little bullets. Say, okay, let me do a little breath work. That can change what versions of it. Let me do a little yin work. Let me do a little yang work. And call it good. Right. So I figure we do a few minutes of that, okay? And then we'll move into something else. So Ryan, if you don't mind, there you go. All right, let's take 3 cleansing breaths. Breathe in. As you exhale, let everything just kind of settle down. 2 more times. Inhale and exhale. 1 more time. Let your weight settle down just a little bit with the hands in front of the lower abdomen. So, Aiden, this is the place where I usually like to do that little bit of silk breathing I was telling you about. So we'll do some reps of that. And this is where you just try to let your mind get into an ebb and flow. Uh, the word that I use is basically unpucker and unclench. Right? Because your mind will clench and your rear end will pucker when life gets tight, right? So try to unpucker and unclench for a few moments. And to do that, breathe in, count to 5, exhale, count to 5, and just let an ebb and flow come into your life in your breath. No pauses on either end, just gentle breathing. And it's okay to smile when you feel yourself unpucker. Let's do 3 more. Let the arms rise up a little bit to level your heart. If they become too fatigued or anything like that, just lower them back down. And we always started with the yin piece first, which is the part that's more grounded. We often use the tree, but today, I thought what I'd also do is ima- imagine for a moment like you're just looking out into the horizon and you see this mountain standing there. One of the translations that I was told one time for Jam Jung was man pile or man mountain. And what if you were standing there that strong, that steady? Just like you're experiencing right now. There was a story about the mountain. And one of the lessons that if you have an intention that the mountain can help you with is that you realize that if you're going to ever stand on your own, you have to learn to be able to periodically stand alone. And sometimes that makes the mountain a little sad. The only friends that the mountain usually have are like visitors in a lifetime. The wind, as it comes by you, sometimes just seems like it's in a rush to get somewhere else. The clouds will hover around for a little bit, but they never really give you the impression that they're going to stay. The birds are just kind of borrowing you. But they all admire you for always being there, for being a symbol of strength and stability. It's part of the reason that they visit. Let your hands float down by your side. Now you can imagine as if you're like a cloud, free to go anywhere in the world you want to. Even places you thought you'd never see, you can visit today in this moment. What if you were that light, that free on the inside? As the first rays of sunlight come out this morning. Mm, beautiful. Taking a breath, let your hands just float back to in front of your lower abdomen. Mhm. Good. I'm going to turn to the side a little bit so you can see me a little differently. All right. So you're here. We're going to turn our body this way. If you want, yeah, that's fine. Either way, we're going to do both sides. Okay. And out into a posture. And what I'd like for you to do is to allow your body to move a little bit. Okay. Just let it kind of rock. We're not going to be too firm with it. Okay. And we're going to move to where my forward hand, my young hand, is going to palm up and wipe back and then spiral out again. Okay. So if you notice the wind blows the lotus leaf, I'm using my fingers to kind of point to the circle. This one comes up and then it changes to almost like a pie circle. But the sensation you're looking for is that in the moment that everything's expanding. Okay. It's going to expand back and forward at the same time. Right now, as I'm practicing it with a little shifting. You can see my body kind of shift back and then forward. Okay. Now, folks, some of the older students who have been around, they may not do that way. You'll see them do it more, usually more as a expanding and rising, sinking and rising type of leg intention. Good. Okay, let's just bring this together, shake it out a little bit. Okay. Now, remember, as we said before, segment intentions or putting your intention together. If you're just learning this, your intention is simple. Just try to learn and memorize, right? Don't try to dissect it. Don't try to apply it. Don't try to analyze it. Don't try to edit it. Just try to absorb it like a kid learning to watch mom. Okay. Just have some fun. That's how you learn the fastest. Right? That's how you learn the fastest. If your eyes are too busy, turn this way, do this, do that. You're not learning, you're analyzing. Right? There's a difference. Okay. So now what we're going to do is turn the other way. Getting an extra reps. Are you there, buddy? Yeah, yeah, I love it. All right. So first, just posture. and to here. Okay. Now a little flex, like I said, you can be forward a little bit like in a bow or sit 50-50. Okay. But the main thing for the upper body is that feeling that it's like pushing out just ever so slightly. Okay. Now the in this case, the young hand is going to turn palm up. The other one wipes by my face. Then when they get into positions about level of the heart, they're going to rotate and push out. Mhm. It's that sensation, like right when you get here, that this is turning and this is pushing. This hand pushing up and away ever so slightly. We'll explain why here in a moment. That's good, Karen. Right? Okay, so Karen, just watch me as you go along. Okay. Okay. So when you get ready to go back, what's happening is your young hand is getting past this leg. It's going out this way. Okay. This hand. Okay. What you want to do is have it come here instead of over there. Right. So let it come right up, almost like you're going to do a tiger licks its mane. Okay. And then it falls to your heart and then spins out. I don't know how to explain that, but I'll know it when I see it. Right. Let's do a couple more. Good. Good. What kind of questions you got from different levels? None so far? Learning. Okay. Some of the ideas you can practice with is that, when you're practicing it, is that you're coming in and pulling across, moving this over and back. Okay. So as I'm coming in, I'm intercepting and intercepting, just like I was from here, right? And then as this pushes back, I'm trying to step in and break his break his balance point. Come over here. Sorry. All right. Sorry about that. Right. So in, and through. Okay. It's not a finish. This isn't the finishing move. All right. This is to break his balance. In the form, what you'll do is you'll practice it. And when you get to here, then the next technique is there, a down fist. So it turns, it wind like a leaf getting blown in the wind, and then when ready, it drops down, drops the hammer. Okay, so it look like more like this, and then it just as soon as you touch and pop him, this just rips up, and this comes driving down at the same time. Uh, we didn't get to that part yet, but because what will happen a lot of times is people will focus on only the hitting part and not what gets you there. Okay. And that is what's really part of it. So I'm going to do it toward the camera. Let's do toward the camera a couple of times. So I'm in here. I'm going to roll back and then out. When I get here, this is going to see how the waist kind of turns a little bit. Boom. It's, now, if you want to add that, let's do a couple. What you'll do is you roll it around, go, and then from right there, when this hand's here, it just drops right by your ear to in front of your about the level of your knee. And then from here, you can roll back Do 1, 2, 3, finish. 1, 2, 3. Wah! Drop the hammer. Okay. You like anybody there, Tara? Have fun. Big smile. Okay. It's 10 o'clock. So YouTube is going to cut us off here in a minute. So let's just do a couple on this side. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. Boom. 2, 3. Boom. Uh-huh. All right. Bring it together. Good practice today.